Bill Barr made a liar out of me when he recently came out and said he'll be supporting the Republican ticket, including Donald Trump, in 2024. Now, if you remember, the very first video that I posted to this channel was about the 30 or so ex-Trump officials that said Trump was not fit to be president, and Bill Barr was one of those people. And I know that Bill Barr has been a very conservative Republican. I would even say he's a Trump enabler. So it's quite surprising to see that he's taking this stance, considering he's been one of Trump's harsher critics ever since he left the administration shortly before January 6th. So this just proves to me that Bill Barr is not as principled as I would have hoped, and that he's willing to put party over country. And I find that despicable. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Bill Barr was saying and compare that to the rationale he is now providing for supporting Trump in 2024.
Is he fit to be president of the United States? Is Donald Trump fit to be president?
This is the way I'll answer that, Geraldo, which is, if you believe in his policies, he's what he's advertising is his policies. He's the last person who could actually execute them and achieve them. He does not have the discipline. He does not have the ability for strategic thinking and linear thinking or setting priorities or how to get things done in the system. It is a horror show when he's left to his own devices. And so you may want his policies, but Trump will not deliver Trump policies. He will deliver chaos and, if anything, lead to a backlash that will set his policies much further back than they otherwise would be.
So I don't think Bill Barr could have been any more clear in saying that Donald Trump is not fit to be president. He correctly characterizes Trump as a man-child who does not have the temperament to do the job. He even goes as far as to say that another Trump term would be a horror show that would only bring chaos. And I think he's right about that. Donald Trump has threatened to go after his political opponents, even those in the media. He wants to fire tens of thousands of federal employees and replace them with people who are loyal to Trump, not the country. And he's even promising to invoke the Insurrection Act on day one to squash any protests against him. So another Trump term would be complete and utter chaos. So how does somebody like Bill Barr seemingly do a 180 and rationalize supporting Trump? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see if he provides any examples as to why he's going to be supporting Trump.
Well, I've said all along, given two bad choices, I think it's my duty to pick the person I think would do the least harm to the country. And in my mind, that's I will vote the Republican ticket. I will support the Republican ticket. I think the real danger to the country, the real danger to democracy, as I say, is the progressive agenda. And while Trump, and I said, Trump may be playing Russian roulette, but continuation of the Biden administration is national suicide, in my opinion.
To say the Biden administration is the bigger threat to democracy is so far from the truth that I find it laughable. And Bill Barr knows better. Donald Trump tried to carry out one of the largest attacks against our democracy when he tried to overturn the free and fair election in 2020. He tried to tear down one of the most fundamental principles of our democracy, and that is the peaceful transfer of power. And when Bill Barr wouldn't play along with his scheme, he was basically cast out of the administration and attacked by Trump. So Bill Barr does know better, and to say Biden is the bigger threat to democracy is just absurd. Let's not forget, it's Donald Trump saying he wants to be dictator on day one, not Joe Biden. So how is Bill Barr rationalizing this? Let's see if he provides any examples of this supposed threat to democracy from the Biden administration.
Policies. My problems came with his behavior, which I found very troubling after the election. And I think, I think the idea that he's going to be an autocrat and take over power like some right-wing dictator is not the threat facing our country. The threat facing our country is from the far left and the drift that's been occurring toward really a socialistic system and one that brooks no opposition, one that cancels people, that has only one viewpoint taught in colleges, that tries to push parents out of the picture when it comes to the education of their children. It's a heavy-handed bunch of thugs, in my opinion, and that's where the threat is.
Again, he has clearly identified that what Trump did in 2020 to try to overturn the election was wrong. But he's providing no solid examples of this so-called threat to democracy from the left. He tries to say that Democrats have been taken over by the far left, but what is he even talking about? The far left is shutting down bridges in San Francisco and New York, chanting Genocide Joe. These leftists aren't part of Joe Biden's base, and in fact, they might even hate him more than the MAGA lunatics do right now. He then says that they're pushing the country towards socialism. Like we haven't heard that one before. This is just another boogeyman created by the right, and they provide no examples to demonstrate the point. He then goes on to say that people are being canceled, and that only one viewpoint is being taught at colleges. But this is just another vague talking point. He's not providing any clear examples. And sure, we could go find a handful of examples, but I have been provided no evidence that this is happening on such a large scale that I would consider it a threat to the country. And I think Bill Barr knows that. So, what else is he trying to say?
We see defying of the law on a regular basis in the Biden administration. I mean, they're not enforcing the law on the border. He's forgiving tens of billions of dollars of money owed to the United States that puts this onus on the back of hardworking taxpayers, people who are not getting these breaks. And the courts have already said that he didn't have the power to do this, and he's trying to do it before the election to buy votes. This is, to me, lawless and crass behavior.
Bill Barr is just being a dishonest partisan hack. He knows that despite the influx of people trying to come into the country, laws are still being enforced at the southern border. And Joe Biden is deporting a higher percentage of immigrants than Donald Trump ever did. Even though it was Donald Trump who killed the bipartisan border deal that would have drastically improved the situation at the border. All because Donald Trump, the chaos agent that he is, wanted the issue to run on in 2024. And Joe Biden is not simply ignoring the Supreme Court like Bill Barr would have you believe. Yes, they did shoot down Biden's $430 billion student loan package, but it's not like he just turned around and did it anyways. He's using existing repayment and forgiveness programs to provide relief in a legal way. And I would be the first one to admit that if Biden did just ignore the Supreme Court, Bill Barr would have a legitimate reason for concern. But that is not what happened. So let's recap. Bill Barr has said multiple times that Trump would bring chaos to the White House if he were reelected in 2024. He has said that Trump is not fit for office because he doesn't have the discipline or the temperament to be president. And he even knows that Donald Trump tried to overturn a free and fair election in 2020. But somehow Joe Biden is the bigger threat to this country for providing student loan relief to public sector workers and disabled people? Make it make sense. I think Bill Barr knows better, and he should be embarrassed for blatantly putting party before country. He's being a partisan hack, and he should be mocked and ridiculed for this apparent backtrack on supporting Donald Trump in 2024. So that's going to do it for me on this one, folks. If you got something out of this video, if you could remember to smash that like button and hit subscribe, maybe share it with a friend or two. If you think I got something wrong, or if you disagree with me about something, feel free to drop a comment below. And if you want to see Bill Barr, before he lost his backbone, and several other ex-Trump officials say Donald Trump is unfit for office in 2024, watch that video on the screen now. Until then, I will see you on the next one.